YouTube, what's up? I'm back with another video, and today I'm going to be explaining the difference between a trunk port and an access port. So we're gonna get started with we'll start with a layer 2 switch, a end user. Let's grab a PC if I can find it. Okay, desktop right here. Let's add another one, and let's add another switch. Do like a layer 3 switch right here. So let's connect these together. Downstream would be, let's keep it G01 and Ethernet. Have any gig ports? I don't think I have any gig ports. So do a Ethernet 00. Create that link. And I'm gonna add another link here downstream to the end users. So G01, no, Ethernet 01, Ethernet 0. Let's create one more. All right, cool. So now that that's taken care of, let's expand these so we could make these links a little bit more visible. Okay, so essentially a access port is a port designated for one particular end user. Like in this case right here, we have switch 1 and desktop 01. This would be created as an access port. Pretty much think about it like this. In a switched environment, you would have an access port for your end users, and a trunk port would be the port that, I guess, carries multiple VLANs from one device to another in your layer 2 environment. So in this case, we have two switches, the layer 2 switch and then a layer 3 switch. So we will configure a trunk port between the two. So always got to remember, trunk ports carry multiple VLANs. If there is only just a single VLAN, then it would still be another access port. But when you have a trunk port, it has multiple VLANs being carried over. So in this design right here, we're going to configure a access port over here in E01 and E02, and then a trunk port going up from upstream through E00 through to G01. So let's start with the turning on this lab, for instance, and then we're going to get into the configuration. So for now, we'll keep everything pretty basic. Let's label this real quick so you guys could see this clearly. So this would be the trunk ports. And I will label these two right here access ports. Do access port 1. Access port 2. And let's create this one as VLAN 2 or VLAN 20. So this PC right here is, or this desktop 1 is going to be for VLAN 20. This desktop 0 is going to be for VLAN 10. VLAN 10. I will go over VLANs in another video, but for now, just know that it's a way to logically segment your network. So pretty much add organization and an extra layer of security. Pretty much, like, say for instance, you have multiple departments in your enterprise. You have your HR department and you have your security IT teams and everything. You want to be able to separate the traffic that I guess separate their traffic, because you don't want HR and the IT teams traffic being what's another way to say this? You don't want that traffic to collide in a way. You want that separation organizationally. It helps for better security. And if say the HR team goes down, IT won't be affected, since the IT is the main team that's going to be able to handle the infrastructure and make sure everything's up and running. So you don't want issues that are going on with HR to affect the IT team, and then the same thing vice versa as well. So that's a good way to separate everything using VLANs, and it makes everything more streamlined and less computer CPU intensive on your devices as well, when you have all the traffic being separated. So it looks like everything it's up right here. So let's get into the switch and configure these access ports. So as you guys can see right here, E01 and E02 are going to be the ports that we designated for the access ports. So let us get into the device. And as you guys remember, this is a CML. This is more of a network emulator than a simulator that you would have in Packet Tracer. So let's get in here. Let's change the host name. We'll name this switch one. Switch one, SW1. And let's get into the interface, E01. Actually, before we do that, let's create the VLANs. And the command to create a VLAN is VLAN, and then the VLAN number that you want to designate. So VLAN 10, and we'll name this HR. Name HR. And then we'll create VLAN 20. Name IT. And now let's go and verify our work. So go in, and as you guys remember, to access privilege exec commands or privilege exec mode commands, you need to do a do command. So do show VLAN, and that's the command to verify your VLANs. And as you guys see here, the VLAN 10 and 20 that we just created are all right here, and the names are there as well. So now you see how the ports are automatically in the default VLAN right here. So VLAN 1 will be your default VLAN. So every device that you so pretty much every layer 2 device that you open up, you're going to see VLAN 1 as the default VLAN, even the multi-layer switch as well. And all the ports are automatically put into VLAN 1. So now we need to get E01 and E02 into these ports right here. So first we'll start off with interface E01. And then from there, we will create it as an access port. So the command to change it into an access port is switch port access, or switch port mode access. Remember that. And then you want to designate the VLAN that you want to add into this port. So switch port access VLAN 10. So that'll be for desktop 0. And let's get into interface E0/2. And we'll do the same thing, switch port mode access. Okay. Switch port access VLAN. And as you can see, I'm not typing the full name. I'm using the tab button once I type in a few letters. So switch port access VLAN 20. And then from there, you have our access ports created. So now let's verify by checking the VLANs. So do show VLAN. Show VLAN. And as you can see right here, we have our access ports created, and we designated the interface to the particular VLAN that we wanted. So we have E02 for desktop 1 on VLAN 20, We got E01 for desktop 2, no, for desktop 0 for VLAN 10. And as you guys can see, there's other VLANs that are in there by default as well. But you'll learn a little bit more about this during your CCNA studies. So now from here, we have our access ports created and 2 different VLANs created as well. So now let us go in and create the trunk port. So as you can see right here, let's zoom in a little bit. You have E00, and that's going to be the trunk port that we create. Interface E0/0. And the command to create this into a trunk port is switch port trunk. Switch port mode trunk. I always gotta remember mode trunk. Command rejected interface whose trunk encapsulation is okay. Since we're having multiple VLANs go through this trunk, we need to designate a encapsulation that's gonna be designated for this port. So we're doing an encapsulation. The encapsulation for VLANs, which is pretty much what we're going to allow on this port to be able to allow it to carry multiple VLANs, is .1Q. So it's switch port caps. I think encapsulation is a command, or a trunk encapsulation. Trunk encapsulation .1Q. This is a command right here. You guys gotta remember it. So before you create your trunk port, you need to add this command. On Packet Tracer, it allows you to go through the process without adding encapsulation, but on actual devices, you need this command right here. So you can determine the tags that it's going to use to identify the VLANs. So switch port trunk encapsulation .1Q, then switch port mode trunk. You'll see it works now. Switch port mode trunk. Now switch port trunk allow. As you see, it's down right now, and then it turns up. But it's not complete until the other end is configured. So in this case, when you have a trunk port, you need both ends configured. And same thing as the IP. Both ends need to be configured to be complete. So switch port trunk allowed VLAN 10. Now I'm actually going to do something real quick to show you how to add VLANs into a trunk. So switch port trunk allowed VLAN 10. And as you guys remember, we have VLAN 10 and 20. So keep that in mind. So now we have VLAN 10 into this trunk port. Let's exit and verify it works. So do show, and command for you to check the trunk configuration is show interface trunk. And as you guys can see right here, the trunk port is created on E00. It's on, and the encapsulation is 802.1Q, and it's trunking. And the native VLAN is set to 1, which is the default VLAN. So eventually you want to change this as well. Actually, we might as well get into that. So switch port. Let's create the VLAN. So VLAN. So when it comes to the native VLAN, you want to designate it to any other random VLAN. So we'll make it a 99. And now let's just go. Okay, now let's put interface E0/0. I think the command to make it a native VLAN, switch port mode, or switch port trunk, native VLAN. Okay. So switch port trunk, native VLAN 99. And of course we have to do the same on the other side. Now let's verify the steps that we took. Okay, as you guys can see, the native VLAN has changed to 99. That would be a good security practice. With the native VLAN, it's essentially the VLAN that all untagged traffic will enter. So whenever you have a trunk port and you have VLANs that are allowed on it, all packets that are not tagged with that VLAN tag are sent to the native VLAN, which is pretty much where all the untagged traffic goes. So in this case, it's going to be sent to 99. Prior to this, it would be VLAN 1, which is, as you know, the default VLAN, and all other ports are configured on that VLAN by default. So for good security measures, you want to configure a different native VLAN. So now that we have the native VLAN configured and we have VLAN 10 on the trunk, we need to add VLAN 20. So interface E0/0. And as you guys remember, it's switchboard mode. Well, we don't need the mode anymore since it's already configured. So switchboard trunk allowed VLAN. A VLAN mismatch discovered on E00 with insert hostname gigabit G01. Yeah, as you guys can see right here, the native VLAN mismatch. On the other end, by default, the native VLAN is VLAN 1. So we need to be able to configure VLAN 99 as the native VLAN on the other side. And as you can see right here, it's showing that there's a mismatch on there. So for us to configure or add this VLAN, normally if you just allow VLAN 20, it's going to override all the other commands or all the other VLANs that are added in there. So check this out. So if you do switchboard trunk allowed VLAN 20, and then do show VLAN or show interface trunk, you see the VLAN 10 that was previously in here was overwritten. So in a production or enterprise environment, this is definitely a no-go. Because imagine, VLAN 10 is already up and running. It's the HR department, and you configure this command and you try to add the IT team on there. VLAN 10's traffic will automatically stop working because you've taken it off the trunk port. So in a production environment, where it's more, I guess, like more important for uptime to be, or downtime to be zero, this is going to be a really bad thing that you do right here. So you want to be able to configure the right. Just give me one moment. Hello?
My credit card.
My apologies. So let us configure or add VLAN 10 since we just added VLAN 20. So, and remember, you could scroll up on here to find your old configuration. So switchboard trunk allowed. And if you want to add a VLAN, you got to do switchboard trunk allowed VLAN add, and then the VLAN number you're trying to add in. So that way it doesn't override everything else that's already been configured. So now let's verify the steps and the work that we've done. So do show interface trunk to verify. Okay. I didn't input that correctly. Show interface INT trunk. So now that we've configured it correctly, we added VLAN 10 into the trunk. So now both VLAN 10 and 20 are both in the trunk. Now let's exit. And matter of fact, and let's save our work. So write RW. Now let's verify that it was saved. Show start. Okay, show start right here. So as you can see, This is the startup configuration. The access ports are configured. E01 has VLAN 10. E02 has VLAN 20. They're both configured as access ports, and even the trunk port is configured as well with the native VLAN. So this is what we need right here. So instead of retyping all this in, we're going to copy and paste it in on the other end because it has all the configurations that we want. Grab a keypad, and this right here is what we call a script. Move this out the way. Okay, so this is what we call a script as engineers. And essentially, you could copy and paste this into your device to save you on time. So conf T, that's how you get into global configuration mode. And all I need to do is just press enable. Clean this up a little bit. And the order of the commands definitely matters as well. So you got to keep that in mind. And as you can see right here, now I have a clean script to run on the other device, on your other switch. So we got the switch point trunk encapsulation .1q designated in the mode, the native VLAN, and then the VLANs that are allowed through on the trunk. And this is the completed script. So let's copy and run it on the other end. Oh, okay, one more thing, the host name and the interface. Host name, switch to interface G0/ what interface is this on? Okay, G01, that's the interface. G01. And now we're good to go. See, everything took. There's no error messages or anything, so that's how you know the script worked. And obviously you have to verify. Let's verify our work here. So let's end this, save it. Now let's show VLAN to see the VLANs. Okay. I forgot we need to create the VLANs. Completely forgot about that. Let's add that back in. Hostname, VLAN 10, name, VLAN 20, name IT. Then now we're back into the interface. And even if we didn't create the VLANs, you would still see the trunk port is created with those same VLANs in there. So show interface trunk. See? So even if the VLANs aren't created, you're still gonna be able to allow them on there. But we still need to create them on the device. So VLAN 99. 99. Cool. Now that the VLANs are created, let's verify our work. Show VLAN. And as you can see here, we have VLAN 10, 20, and VLAN 99 all created. So let's go interface trunk. Verify one more time. Okay, VLAN is 20, 1020. 1020 is allowed on the trunk. Trunk mode is on. It's using 802.1q encapsulation and it's trunking. So now everything is configured and good to go. So that right there is a trunk encapsulation or a trunk configuration with the 802.1q encapsulation. We have access ports on both of these VLANs, VLAN 10s and VLAN 20, using the E01 and E02. And that is pretty much everything that has to do with trunking and access ports. And I hope that clarified everything that you guys wanted to know. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out or leave a comment in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe and tune in for more. Till next time.